This war has tested Christian support for Israel all around the world. Unfortunately, we've seen many Christians compromise and leave their support with Israel because I believe their support was skin deep and they really didn't understand God's covenant, the calling that He has done, what He is doing in our time. And so to stand here with you today at this location, celebrating the hostages' return is amazing.
It's amazing because, first of all, you're here and you stayed. I remember when we were packing the bags, like these are volunteers
Mhm.
that technically could go to the airport like everybody else was
Yeah.
trying to get out of Dodge, uh, for people who were tourists and wanted to get to their loved ones back home. But you decided, based upon Lake, hey, let's pack some bags and
Yeah.
we'll bring it in.
Yeah.
It took some time to get to Jerusalem from Netanya, from my home, because we were dodging missiles
Yeah.
from Gaza. And we finally made it. We packed the bags and we were just praying because we're going to the military zone of where the war was happening. That's the Sderot and
Mm.
beyond. And now we entered into Sderot. And for some reason, during the time that we delivered, until I think 20 minutes after we left,
Mhm.
no rockets were
No
going
missiles.
into Sderot,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
this was sort of the miracle. But I would have to say, I think both of us understood that we're going to do God's work and we're going to pray that we're going to return back to our families.
Yeah.
But I think there was something in the back, at least from my mind,
Yeah.
that I don't know if we're going to make it back home,
For me too.
right?
Yeah.
And therefore, there's a certain amount of acceptance of saying the rest is in God's hands. I can only do what I'm able to do in my control of my hands right
Mm.
now. It's not about what I think things should be or talk about the failures of everything. What we are called to do is, if a decision is given and the calling is given to us in our lives, it's a yes or a no,
Yeah.
and how you serve
Absolutely.
that. And from my perspective, as a Jew living here, I can't be who I am without my Christian brothers and sisters, because ultimately it's about making His name one in the world. And that has to be done in partnership of the Jewish people with the nations. And I don't know of any other faith community that believes that in the Bible, in the
Mhm.
inerrancy of the Bible, that believes in God. Yes, the expression is different. Judaism expresses its faith differently than Christians do,
Mhm.
but the commonalities far outweigh what divides us. And what I've seen in the last 2 years, it's been harder and harder for you to stand in the gap for us because of the rise of
Mhm.
anti-Semitism. And you stood bold in
Mm.
that courageous gap and saying, we're standing with the people of Israel. The honor is to do this with you and to show the world that Jews and Christians can work together for the benefit of God, to
Mm.
actualize His kingdom here. And we're doing this and helping people to rebuild their lives, because by rebuilding their lives, we become the conduit of the blessing to the world.
Absolutely. This is covenantal faithfulness in action. You never see in the Bible people getting a download from God, so to speak, and then just sitting and doing nothing. God calls action. He calls people. He connects them together, and it's for His name. And I look at that right at the beginning. I mean, what I see in you and I is this like connection to Genesis 12:3. It's a connection to Genesis 15. It's a connection to the calling of Abraham, descendants, land, and through this relationship, there is going to be this symbiotic connection. The blessings that will go through the whole world. We're not supposed to be separate. We're not supposed to just think about something that makes us feel good. We're supposed to take action. Much of the church has failed in history, and there's been this chasm between Jews and Christians, but it's closing. This is just a miracle that we live in. You can hear the music in the back. We just came from a bunch of cheering Israelis watching these helicopters land with people that have been in dungeons, starved and abused since that horrific day. And Jews and Christians are working together.
But the thing is that Christians are celebrating with the
Yeah,
Jewish people about this day. They have been praying all 738 days for the
yeah.
hostages to return. So this is not just a Jewish people celebration.
This
This
is,
is us
yeah,
celebrating together on the Feast of Tabernacles, which is a universal biblical
yeah,
holiday for the nations. That's why, biblically speaking, there were 70 offerings to
yeah.
represent the 70 nations back then, to represent the world. Right now on this day, I think everybody here is feeling something quite unique that we've never experienced beforehand. We can't explain why certain events turn out the way they are. I'll give you an example for the Bibas family,
Mm,
right? Where this is the the babies came home in the coffins, and then the mother was supposed to be in the other coffin, wasn't there. The shock of that, the shock of that, and then finally the mother and comes home, and then the entire Israel does a parade of saying goodbye to
Yeah.
the family. Why that death particularly? I don't know. Maybe it was because it was 10-month-old babies that
Yeah.
were the youngest of the hostages, but it was not just us mourning and us paying our tribute to say goodbye. It was Christians around the world that were praying with us and experiencing that moment of mourning. So just like where Solomon says in his book that we read, Kohelet, that there's a time for mourning, there's a time for joy, and this is the time for joy. Whatever you think of, whatever the deal is, doesn't matter. This is the moment that the government made a decision. The parents are now having the opportunity to be close to their loved ones who remain alive. Those will have closure for those who passed on, but they're able to bury their loved one. It's all there. It's interesting how biblical faith is able to have the tension of joy
Yeah.
and grief
Yeah.
at the same time. Sometimes the words in the Bible, biblically speaking, those Hebrew words have tension.
Yeah.
How do you do this
And often
both?
we think that those
We
things
think
should be
it's
separate.
but we're able
Yeah.
to handle it. And I think this is part of the journey for both of
Yeah.
us, right? There's this, we're going in, we know that we have to comfort this family, we have to rebuild this community. They need this particular piece of equipment to help, or this humanitarian assistance. But in order to do that, we're doing the joy of God's work, and we're smiling with one another, and then we're comforting and grieving with the person. That's not an easy thing to be balancing for 2 years.
You know.
And we've done it together, and it's an honor to just stand with you because it's a testament to what it's supposed to be, of what I think today God is smiling,
Amen.
right?
Amen.